Hello everybody and welcome back to another video for the day. We're heading back into r/AmITheDevil because, yeah, some people really do be that horrible, so, I'm here for it. So if you guys would love to be absolutely amazing, show your support, and see more videos like this one in the near future, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment down below to start up the pulse of internet discussions, and if you guys have not already, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. Also, if you guys would like to save 10% with gamer subs, use code Tommy at checkout, or use the link down below. My M34 wife F35 wants to end our 13-year marriage. Any advice? My wife of 13 years has told me that she hates me, wants a divorce, and wants to experience being with other men. I'm not sure how to process this, and I feel deeply hurt. In the early years of our marriage, I wasn't a good husband. I never cheated or physically hurt her, but I neglected her emotionally, especially after our first child was born. I focused all of my attention on being the fun dad, or on work, leaving her feeling unimportant. This behavior stopped about 3 years ago, when I had a mental breakdown. I sought help and realized how much I had hurt her. My own childhood trauma had been driving me to overcompensate as a parent. Since then, I've taken on much more of the duties that she used to handle. I now do most of the housework, cleaning, cooking, doing laundry, and homeschooling the kids, while also planning special outings and making time for her. I even took on a second remote job because she said that she was worried about finances and didn't want to get a job that she didn't like. Here's what the typical day looks like. I wake up at 3 a.m. to start my first job. Around 9 a.m., I take a break to make breakfast for the kids and get them started on their day. My wife wakes up around 10:30 a.m., and I have her separate breakfast and coffee ready. She usually goes to the gym around 11:30, and during that time, I continue homeschooling the kids and clean the house, mopping, sweeping, doing dishes, laundry, bathrooms, so she doesn't have to. I make lunch so it's ready when she gets back from the gym. Around 2 p.m., I start my second job, and she takes over homeschooling. But I still get up frequently to help with the younger kids or whatever else she asks. Around 4 p.m., she either runs errands, takes a break to read, or watch a show, or ask for some help. I move from my office to take the kids out of the park and for a walk if I don't have any meetings. I cook dinner around 6 p.m. and we eat at 6:30 p.m. Sometimes she stays in our room and I bring her food. By 8 p.m., I try to get some time alone with her by going out while our oldest, 13, babysits. But it's a hit or miss of whether or not she's interested. We usually manage this once or about once a week. I get the kids to bed at 9:30 to 10 p.m., and she goes to bed around 10:30. I usually don't sleep in the same room because she says I wake her up when I come in late. After putting the kids to bed, I finish my remaining work until about midnight, then try to get a few hours of sleep before the cycle starts again. Despite all of this, she is now telling me that she doesn't want to be married anymore, and that I'm not good enough for her. She made it clear that the only reason she's waiting to divorce is because she wants me to buy a house first. Until then, she wants our relationship to remain platonic. I feel used, exhausted, and lost. So neglecting the wife at the beginning of the relationship is leading to things not working out in the long term. That is not really good, and in the event that this actually is legit, that is way too much for you to be working. You're doing all that stuff and homeschooling 5 kids, 2 jobs, and just something's not sounding right here. I feel like there's something that's not being said here that would help with context, but you're trying to leave it out to try to get things to swing in your favor. Something's not adding up. Am I the a-hole for making a post about my daughter's favorite celebrity being rude to us? My daughter and I were recently on vacation. We spent the day in an area that is known to have a lot of rich and famous people, and towards the end of the day, we saw one of my daughter's favorite celebrities. We'll call her A, walking out of a store. My daughter ran to the store, but when she got near A, she was stopped by A's security. They said that A is there with her daughter for her daughter's birthday and wants to focus on her daughter. My daughter was very upset because she's been a fan of A for a long time, so she tried again for a picture but was turned away. My daughter was crushed, so later that night, I made a post talking about my experience with A, how she wouldn't let anyone go near her and her daughter, and the fact that her security was rude, and her not being willing to stop for a couple of seconds for a picture. I understand it's her daughter's birthday, but a 1-minute interaction with a fan isn't going to ruin her day. And if it does, that girl needs to learn that the world doesn't revolve around her. The post ended up getting a lot of attention, and a lot of people actually said my daughter and I were being entitled for expecting A to interrupt her daughter's birthday for everyone that wants a picture. My husband also saw the post and said he couldn't believe that I would bash her for trying to spend a day with her daughter. I'm not trying to bash her for spending the day with her daughter, but she wouldn't be where she is without her fans, so I think she at least owes it to them to take a picture. Am I the a-hole for making a post about A? Doy, yeah. Really is weird that there are people out there that don't think that a person is a human being just because they happen to have been famous, been in a movie, have a lot of money, all that stuff. For some reason, it makes them think, oh, hey, I can go up and bug this person. Don't worry, you wouldn't be here without me. No, I'm fairly certain they would be perfectly fine without that one nutso individual not pestering them for a damn photo. If somebody's at an event, like, let's say, for example, the person is a famous voice actor or anything, or an actor in a movie, and they go to, like, Comic-Con, special designated areas will be perfectly fine because they're already set up to be good to go there for interacting with fans. But coming up to somebody randomly on the street saying, hey, can I get a photo of you because I saw you in a movie, that does sound a little weird. And the same thing goes for just anybody really that has a following. Just because somebody has a major following does not mean that they are not human. At the end of the day, the person that has 13 million followers online is going to eat the same type of food that the person that has 6 followers online does. At the end of the day, we're all just the same meat Gundams. So yeah, you're a little entitled thinking that the person was rude because, well, first off, the security was just doing their thing. They're paid to protect this person because, oh, I don't know, maybe there's some random nutso on the street and their kid that wants to run up and, ask them for a photo. Am I the a-hole for confiscating a student's toy? Hi everyone, throwaway account. Yeah, no surprise on that one, huh? So I, 50F, am an elementary school teacher, and something happened last Friday. I have a student, let's call her Emily, 8F, who has been bringing a small stuffed dinosaur to class every day for the past couple of weeks. At first, I thought that it was harmless and maybe even a bit cute, but then it started to become a major distraction. Emily would often place the dinosaur on her desk to talk to it during lessons, and even make it walk around her desk while I was teaching. The other students started to be more focused on the dinosaur than on what I was teaching, which I wasn't happy about. Last Friday, when I was teaching, Emily started making her dinosaur talk to the student next to her. I had already asked her multiple times to put it away, but she would only do so for a few minutes before taking it out again. I tried confiscating it for a bit, but then when I gave it back, she still continued to disrupt class. I was frustrated, and in a moment of irritation, I took the dinosaur, walked over to the window, and tossed it out of our top floor outside of the schoolyard. Emily was upset and started crying. I immediately questioned my actions, but the damage was done. I tried to go back to teaching like nothing happened, but she was so upset that she was crying so much that she distracted my whole class. Later that evening, I received an email from Emily's mother accusing me of being cruel and unprofessional. She said that the dinosaur was a comfort item for Emily, who has been dealing with anxiety recently, and that I had traumatized her daughter by throwing it out the window. She demanded an apology and said that she would be speaking to the principal about the incident. Sure enough, I just was called by my principal that we need to have a meeting on Monday. Now, I don't know what to do, and I'm pretty nervous for said meeting. On one hand, maybe I shouldn't have thrown the dinosaur out the window, but on the other hand, the dinosaur is genuinely disrupting the class, and I had already tried to address the issue several times. So, am I the a-hole for how I handled the situation? Yes, because you very much were not supposed to be throwing anything out of the window, especially somebody else's property. Confiscate it? Give back to them after class? That was one thing. I think when it comes to things, that was perfectly fine. Unless they had some kind of note from their parents stating that they are permitted to have said item on them. But no, for some reason you decided to go even further than that and just chuck it out the window. Whatever comes next on your not surprising throwaway account and whatever goes on with you at your school, this is all the result of your own actions. My husband keeps getting more attractive, and I don't like it. Me, 32F, and my husband, 32M, have been together for 8 years, married for 5. I am not ashamed to say that I was the pretty one in our relationship when we were dating. Before we got married, he was around 280 pounds and 5'11". Didn't know how to choose clothes for himself, he hates shopping, and had a bald head. I fell in love with who he was as a person. Even though I never cared for his looks, I was secretly assured that he wouldn't cheat on me. I was cheated on every single one of my relationships until he came along. Into 2 years of our marriage, his sister had to lose a ton of weight due to heart issues, and he started going to the gym with her 5 times a week to support her. I was very supportive of him and started exercising and thought it was very sweet of him for him to support his sister like that. With 2.5 years of hard work, they lost a ton of weight. He specifically lost around 100 pounds, and it turns out that he has very blessed genes. I am talking about full-on abs and everything. Never knew a man could grow a jawline by losing weight. Even his pecker seemed to be bigger. I was very proud of him and was pleasantly surprised by this. Then, soon after he got a promotion at work, he became head of his department, and his former boss advised that he should look for more presentable as a representation of their department. My husband took his words to heart and turned to me for help. We went on a shopping spree and started to let his hair grow out. Well, again, turns out he has beautiful hair. By this time, my husband is a very attractive man. Then, a month, we went to a company's anniversary party with his coworkers. I noticed that women at that party were just swooning over my husband, and even worse, he just doesn't realize it. I learned from his coworker that most single women, even some of the married ones, are actively throwing themselves at him in his workplace. There was one younger girl who gave him a kiss on the cheek while we were sitting together. I talked to him about it, and he said, "Well, she is French. I thought French people were like that. I guess I'll try to keep my distance from her." Honestly, it was a dumb response, but it's just so like him. I don't like how much attention he is getting. I feel like as soon as we get into a rough patch, if we do get into it, there is a ton of women waiting to prey on him. I am scared that some of those women will affect him, as he is pretty naive as a person. Note that he was everything I could ask for in marriage, and has been great, if not a perfect husband for me over the years. I feel like such a POS for wishing that he had stayed physically the same. So you got upset because your husband lost weight, took care of himself, and you're upset why? It's not like he's talking with these women, flirting with them, going out with them. No, he's still, from what you've stated, loyal to you, which is something that is good for a relationship. Being cheated in past relationships can definitely leave some kind of anxiety-based scar in your mind, but it doesn't seem like you're going to have to worry about that. And you said that you don't have to worry about him cheating on you, but that's just another version of you calling him ugly. But God forbid dude gets a promotion at work and is told, "Hey, you should probably look a little more presentable since you're representing our entire department." Am I the a-hole for telling my neighbor to move if he doesn't want to share the elevator with a dog? Edit. I appreciate everybody's responses. I posted this right before I went out to try and see the aurora. I'm ready reading these whenever the aurora dips, and I'll try to reply again when I can. I've noticed some people think that I'm deathly afraid of spiders and would freak out if somebody thought it brought a pet spider with them. No, because you can only have dogs and cats here. If I saw one in the elevator, I'd take another one like an adult. I, 27F, live in a building that allows up to 2 dogs with no breed or weight restrictions. I have a 12-year-old Chiweenie who is nothing but sweet. She rarely barks and does good with everybody, including cats. I took the elevator so she could go on her walk, sit down on the sidewalk, and this kid, 20-ish, was in there first. He asked me not to come in, but I told him we have every right to use the elevator and came in. He basically squished himself into the opposite corner and started shaking, and asked me to put her behind my legs because he's scared of dogs. I told him that if he is scared of dogs, he shouldn't live in a dog-friendly apartment. He stutters out that he wasn't asking much of me. I told him that it's entitled to ask others to accommodate his triggers. By this time that it was over, he literally ran out of the elevator. This one lady working at the front desk asked me if everything was okay, and I told her that he was being a baby over sharing an elevator with my 7-pound dog. She went, "I don't want to get involved, but the next time something like that happens, please take the next elevator. I don't want to get on management's dookie list," so I just nodded and walked away. I asked a few neighbors who have dogs, and they all said that I was in the wrong and shouldn't have even gone in the elevator. I asked my friends and family, and everyone thought that I was being rude. My aunt replied, "It costs nothing to be kind to people, despite what your generation seems to think." Am I the a-hole? I'm scared of spiders, but it doesn't mean it's everybody else's problem. Ah yes, but let's flip the script a little bit. There are a lot of times where people will be able to have their tarantulas out, hold them, they can walk all over them. So you mean to tell me that you would be perfectly fine with somebody walking into a tight space with you there when they had a tarantula on their shoulder? You would be perfectly fine with that? Because there are such things as phobias of specific animals. Sometimes it's due to past traumas, sometimes it's due to other reasons. Phobias can exist for whatever reason whatsoever. And they were there first. You should have just waited for the next one. If you were in the elevator and they opened the door to see you there with your puppy, then they most likely would have just said, "Okay, I'll get the next one." That would have been perfectly fine for them to do, which is the same thing that you should have done. Basically, whoever's first there they got dibs on it, basically. And you don't get a justification for your dog just because it happens to be tiny. Small dog, big dog, any type of dog is still going to upset somebody who has a phobia of dogs. My daughter-in-law has ruined my relationship with my son. My F54 son, M27, and daughter-in-law F24, I'll call her J, got married 6 months ago. They were together for around 2.5 years before that. J was 7 weeks pregnant at the wedding, so she's around 30 weeks now. My son has had girlfriends in the past that he never bothered introducing me to, but he introduced us to J around a few months into the relationship. She seemed nice and sweet, but definitely not what I thought my son would want to be with. I told my son my concerns, and he brushed them off, and we had a few conversations about this during their relationship, and he became even more distant over the course of the relationship. The wedding went fine, and it was honestly a really beautiful ceremony, but at the reception, I noticed that Jay was not drinking at all. Drinking is an unfortunate, normalized part of our ethnic culture, especially at major events like this. I found it odd and asked her about it, and if she wanted me to get her a drink, and she immediately got defensive, and I pressed her about it, and Jay admitted that she was pregnant. I pulled her aside and told her that they never should have gotten pregnant before they getting married. My son ended up kicking me and my husband both out of the reception party, and we had zero contact for a while. I finally got in touch with him through one of his cousins, and my son said he was done with me, and I had something against his wife for absolutely no reason. He was never like this before Jay entered his life. Jay has absolutely changed him. I'm almost certain that Jay has probably made things from the reception seem worse than they are. Also, there is the fact that she's a stay-at-home pregnant wife, while my son is out working a full-time job and is also doing a master's at the same time. My son is just used to getting used for money, while she's doing nothing and locked him down by having a baby, and she has spoiled my relationship with my son in the process. I don't know how to fix this, and I am losing hope that my relationship with my son will never recover. Ah yes, you know, your head is still stuck up so far up your ass you think that it's illegal for people to get pregnant before they get married, yet for some reason you think that you're the one that is the victim of this all, totally not the person who is being made fun of or, you know, berated because they happen to have gotten pregnant before they got married and were wondering why they aren't drinking at a wedding. But with that, that is going to have to be it with the video. If you guys would love to be absolutely amazing, show your support and see more videos like this one in the near future, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment down below to start up them wholesome internet discussions, and if you guys have not already, subscribe to the channel and turn on them notifications. And I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye!